Hi, good morning. We're here with Karl Douglas from Beverley Travel once again, because this time last year we had a chat with you and learn a bit more about your business and what you're up to. I think we just come in, well, not quite out the back of the pandemic, but we were discussing the challenges over that period and how business had been. So yeah, we're really interested to find out a little bit more about the last year and how that's been for you. So if you could give us a quick recap as to who you are, what it is that you do, a bit of an intro, and for how long, and then we'll go from there, please.
Yeah, so Karl Douglas, I'm a co-director, co-owner of Beverley Travel. We, as the name would suggest, we're in the travel world, we're a travel agency, and we send people on amazing holidays, all corners of the globe.
So how long in total have you been doing that for? When did you set up?
So we opened this store as a joint venture. Kelly Cheeseman and myself, we managed our businesses actually in the middle of the first lockdown back in 2020, thinking it was just a few weeks to go and everything would be all right. But I had opened a pop-up shop in the January of 2020 just to kind of test the concept out, and we've both been in the industry just under 6 years. But we're obviously operating separately for the first 3 years of that. So
we were talking, say last year, off the back of the pandemic, really, and coming out of that experience. So in terms of when we last spoke, I think it's pretty much this time last year.
Yeah.
How's the last year been for you? What's your journey been like?
Yeah, I mean, it's been for the travel industry as a whole, it's been a huge bounce back period. As destinations throughout last year were dropping restrictions, and I guess the last major destination was the US, which dropped the final COVID-related restrictions in April this year. So yeah, it's still been not a completely normal time, but yeah, a lot easier than it was before. So, and we've had that sort of bounce as well. Because of when we opened the business, we don't have any sort of pre-pandemic normality baseline to compare against. But I think generally we're growing faster than the average. So yeah, so it's been a huge year for us. Lots and lots of achievements, lots happened.
Brilliant. How do you, just out of interest, you've got literally a world in front of you as a travel agent. How do you decide where you send people? What's the kind of, give us a bit of insight into the choices of destination that you offer? Yeah,
so I guess the first misconception that people have is that we are destination experts, and whilst we may have expertise in certain destinations, we're not kind of experts in every destination in the world. That's pretty much impossible. What we have behind us, and we have contracts in place with our, literally hundreds of travel providers, and our job is to understand the client's needs and select the right travel provider for them. And it's a little bit like the financial advisor world. They don't manage the investments, but they know who the best investment managers are. We know we don't specifically arrange the detailed travel arrangements, but we find the right provider who can. And there's multiple suppliers for each destination, but they offer a different style, a different approach, and it's finding the right one for that client. So how we do that is we just talk and mainly listen. So we ask questions and listen to those little nuggets that people say in the middle of a sentence that's a really key bit. And for us, it's kind of teasing out that next level of detail. To say, I want to go, I want a nice beach, but so and it's narrowing it down. And what do you like to do? What do you like to do when you're on holiday? Do you literally just sit by the pool all week? So we're looking for an amazing hotel with amazing facilities, or is it you like to go out and explore? Well, therefore we need somewhere where there's lots to go out and do. And so it's that kind of extra level of detail that enables us to narrow it down and make some recommendations. Yeah,
that kind of personal touch on the basis of really understanding and listening to the customer.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So in terms of that last year, you mentioned things had come on massively.
Yeah.
you want to give us a bit of insight into that? What are the sort of highs and what are the challenges of that you found now that things have opened up? And I'm assuming growth has obviously happened for you.
Yeah, so we're on track to grow by around about 60% year on year.
Brilliant.
Which followed a similar level of growth on the previous year as well. And that's been amazing. That that's being busy brings its challenges in terms of the number of bookings that means, and because we offer a high level of post booking service, the challenge in delivering that service to the standards that we promise and we expect that our clients to become accustomed to is challenging. So recruiting is not easy. And particularly because we are looking for people who are up for the challenge that we're not a kind of crank the handle travel agency and we twiddle our thumbs when it's about. We're pushing on onwards in lots of different directions. So we need people who are high energy, highly self motivated. Want to be part of the future that we're creating for the business, and so finding the right people is even more difficult than finding just people.
Is there any successes on that you can share and approaches for the businesses watching in a similar position? I
mean we've learnt the hard way. We've made some wrong recruitment decisions, and either they or us have decided that it wasn't right, but usually it's a mutual situation. So we have had people join and move on. We've also had people join and stay, and what we've done is looked at. So we've done some personality profiling on the team and looked for indicators of the success criteria. We've used that in our recruitment process. We wrote a team charter, and we now share that with people before they come to interview. And if you are up for this, come along for the interview. If you're not, please be honest and don't come for the interview. Because this is what it will be like working here. So we describe what we expect, also what we provide, but also the sort of values that we want as well. And that's a great filter actually. So a number of people decided not to come for the interview, which is great. There's our time, there's their time.
It's kind of a deselection process, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because you want people to be attracted to you, and it's not for everyone. There's jobs for different types of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're not bad people. They're just not match for us. Yeah.
Brilliant. Good share. So, are there any? If we have a look at the future, then what would you say going ahead in terms of your growth trajectory? Is it something you're looking? What's your plans and how do you see that?
So yes, keep growing, and keep growing at a high rate, not necessarily 60% every year. In the one business at the minute, we have one store, which is Beverley Travel. We are looking to open new stores.
Fantastic.
Again, we've decided to find the right people before we decide on the location, because we're going to set them up as almost like a joint venture. So they will engage with store directors, so they'll be directors of that business, and they'll have an equity share and they'll share in the profit. So finding the right people is more important than finding the right location.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because once we've found them, then we'll find the right location.
Yeah.
We've set up our, as Kelly and I started as independent franchisees, we set up our own version of that model, and we've recruited 10 self-employed independent travel agents who were training, and we've designed that in a way to, we both left for specific reasons, and left the franchise and set up our own business. And the reasons that we left for, and that many other people that we spoke to did the same thing. We've tried to design that out of the system that we've put in place. So it's very much about rewarding success. So the more they earn, literally the more they earn in terms of percentage and those kind of things. So so that's going well. 10 independent agents. We set out to get a couple just to kind of learn and build it, and when we found ourselves with 10, and like, okay, we need to build this pretty quick. So we literally, and we thought it would be an extension of the current business, but actually when we got into it, we effectively set up a whole new business and travel agency to manage that, to support that area. Yeah, that's one area that we've been recruiting for, is to support that as well. Yeah, so yeah, lots going on.
So in this last sort of year or so, is there one lesson, as we always like to ask, to draw out, to share for others, that stands out above all others?
I think for me, it's just don't give up. Just keep going. There's a solution to every problem. Sometimes it's just not obvious. Even when times get hard. So, we recruited people, we lost them. It's challenging because we're then, sort of back to square one. We're extremely busy. That sort of training time, because we're finding we can't find it. But just keep going. We find a way. We work with the team. Balance the priorities. Keep going.
Good lesson. I like it.
If you believe in your vision and you believe in your future, then it's worth facing up to the challenges. It's not, to deliver something amazing is never going to be easy.
True. Very good share. Thank you.
Yeah.
And any inspiration at the moment for yourself? Anything that you use for inspiration to do what you do? Could be anything you read, that you listen to. Any good shares on that?
I don't read a lot. I'm not very good at that learning style. My mind wanders. I found I've gone through a couple of chapters and I can't remember what I've read. My mind's off somewhere else. I'm very much an interactive learner. So I like talking to people, and people who are in the same industry, people who are in different industries. Although we're different industries, a lot of the problems are common, and the solutions or variations of solutions can be applied in many different areas. So so I think that's the key thing for me is just talk and listen all the time, not necessarily about a specific problem, just talk and listen, and that goes in your memory bank, and then if one day that situation comes up and you can pull it out of there.
Definitely. I think you're very right there in terms of generically, there's fundamental principles that apply to sort of life and the ways to deal with things, especially in business. They can be transferable across different sectors and industries, and if you're associating with people who've gone through those, or sharing those, or going through those, it's very useful to have that kind of network of people to work with. Good stuff. Thank you. And then any latest news around sort of what you're up to? Obviously, you've shared the recruitment and the growth side of the business. Is there anything else, or just a reference back to the website? Yeah,
we I guess one thing I haven't shared so far is we actually won an amazing award early in the year, in sort of May time. We entered some industry awards to be initially to be nominated for the best travel agency in Yorkshire. So when we got shortlisted, which was amazing, so we were one of 5 shortlisted for best travel agency in Yorkshire. And on the awards night, we won that, which was
brilliant,
unbelievable. and then it immediately went through to the next round on the night, which was to find the best travel agent in the UK and Ireland, and we won that as well.
Fantastic.
Which was just out of this, totally surreal moment. Still doesn't quite feel totally real. It's like, did we really?
Excellent. That must have felt really good.
Yeah, it kind of threw us a little bit though, because our sort of 3-year plan was to be the best travel agent in East Yorkshire, but
so where to next?
Yeah, so but it's an amazing accolade for sure, and what also goes alongside that is it's more important that we get the reviews from our customers, and we get pretty much all our reviews are 5-star. So So
Right.
you know the two go hand in hand, and that inspires us to keep, you know, to maintain that standard. You know, whether we win the same thing next year or not, is to maintain that standard, constantly try and improve it as well. You know, find new ways to be better, so it does spare you on. You know, having that is you know, but it could be seen as a bit of a millstone, but you know, it motivates us, and you know, it's a thing that has been talked about. You know, we've got to solve this because we've got to hit that standard.
Fantastic.
That's a good thing.
Excellent. Thanks, Karl. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you again. And I wish you all the best for the future.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Mike.